Science has lent us its lens to filter Ifa's wisdom and to find proofs of its veracity. But what does the word Ifa mean? We find the answer in the principal Odu, or matrix, of its literary encyclopedia called Babae Jogbe. In one of its stories, it speaks to us about the occasion when one of the disciples of Orumila, called Amosu, asked the teacher to show him the significance of the numbers in Ifa. Orumila, using metaphor or parable, imposed himself to explain the numbers from 1 to 16. From these explanations, we will take the example of the writings about the numbers 1 and 6. About the number 1, we read the following. Orumila said, "When we count, don't we begin with 1? I responded, "Certainly, we begin with 1, Master Ifa." Ifa answered, "In a certain occasion, I declared this to Ninola of the lineage of Olufunade. Ni in your name derives from Eni, 1, but they have the same root. Ni also can mean to have, in a manner that you will have wealth and will enjoy royalty. But Niniola did not understand. And do you understand it?" I responded, "Yes, sir, I understand that the multiple is derived from the universal unit, of course." In these verses about the numerology of Ifa, the significance of 1 is emphasized, representing the coherence and harmony that exists in the universe. That is to say, all of the elements that compose it, interlaced in one all from its fountain of creation, known as Olodumare, who constitutes the appealing and cohesive patron. This is explained scientifically in the theory of the holographic universe, which nourishes itself from investigations of grand scientists and theorists of physics, from Einstein, Heisenberg, Bell, Bohr, and David Bohm, whom described the holographic universe as an invisible, intangible power manifested in tangible parts. The holographic concept comes from the word hologram, from the Greek holos, which means complete or a whole, and gramma, which means messages. One interpretation would be the messages given in a whole. This concept was given for the first time by the Hungarian physicist Denis Gabriel, who received a Nobel Prize in Physics in 1971 for his work. The hologram is a third-dimensional image created from a coherent ray of light. Let's take as a base a laser beam, and let's make it pass through a beam splitter. This will give us 2 beams. One will be called reference beam, which, guided by a mirror, will be projected in a photographic plate. The other beam will be called operative beam, which is projected over the object and guided by mirrors. It will also be projected over the photographic plate, giving way to an interference of frequencies which will project the third-dimensional image of the object even when it is not present. This explains that the physical world in which we live in is nothing more than a hologram of the causal world we do not see. That is to say, the invisible world of the dimensions where its creator and his derived or multiple forces reside, known as the Orisha. And though they may not be tangible, they unfold or manifest in each material particle that composes the all that we call man's universe. In explaining the number 6, Orumila said, "Analyze Efa, the number 6. I said, "Show me the number 6, please, Ifa." He told me, "Fa in Efa means to draw out or bring." Now, hear this play on words. He continued saying, "He guides prosperity towards the house. He brings the wealth from the farm." Then he asked, "What is it?" and responded himself, "The hoe, of course." He himself asserted gently, "Fa also means puncture, like the needle does with cloth, converting it into pieces of clothing." And he proceeded to say, "On a certain occasion, I declared this to Afifa, but he never perceived that Fa is the root of Ifa. In these previous verses, the word Ifa is observed as a noun or name derived from the verb fa in Yoruba, meaning he who guides or brings the wealth and prosperity." Concluding this analysis, evidently, Ifa's truth is tightly bound to the number 6, as it is also to 1. On the other hand, in the same Odu or matrix of Ifa, Baba, Ejogbe, we find in another of its verses the following contribution: Ifa otitonio mi fiteleisa, of which the translation is the following: Ifa's truth is coated with crystals in water. The Japanese doctor of alternative medicine, Masaru Emoto, creator of the General Research Institute, IHM, has offered solid scientific evidence about these relations that Ifa holds with the number 6 and its capability of constructing crystals in water, utilizing an apparatus to analyze magnetic resonance acquired in the United States. He was able to find out that water could convert into a messenger or conductor of electromagnetic frequencies of everything that would come into contact with it. Afterwards, utilizing jars of sterilized crystals, he deposited a millimeter of water from the Shiraito Falls in Japan in each one of them, and he put them to freeze at a temperature of 25 degrees below zero. 3 hours later, the frozen crystals were analyzed with powerful microscopes, and the observed results were very surprising. Crystal structures forming hexagonal figures with perfect symmetry, harmony, and beauty came to light. But observed that these precious formations of the natural world always have as characteristics 6 sides or points in symmetric form, correlating Ifa's identification with its etymological root, fa, which means 6, and the harmonious and absolute power of its truth reflected in crystal figures such as the verse of Ejobe expressing, "Ifa's truth is coated with crystals in water." This same experiment was repeated, but this time utilizing written labels with words of positive and also negative messages. And the results were the following: messages like, "I hate you," "I'll kill you," "you have to," and "war," etc., did not form crystals, rather horrifying figures instead. On the other hand, words like love, peace, and gratitude formed exquisite figures reflecting delicacy and elegance. These experiments prove the occult, constructive power of life in the truth of the words of Ifa. Ifa answered, "In a certain occasion, I declared this to Ninola of the lineage of Olufunade. Ni in your name derives from Eni, one, but they have the same root, the numbers 1 and 6. About the number 1, we read the following. Orumila said, when we count, don't we begin with 1? I responded, certainly, we begin with 1, Master Ifa. Science has lent us its lens to filter Ifa's wisdom, called Amosu. Asked the teacher to show him the significance of the numbers in Ifa. Orumila, using metaphor or parable, imposed himself to explain the numbers from 1 to 16. From these explanations, we will take the example of the writings about and to find proofs of its veracity. But what does the word Ifa mean? We find the answer in the principal Odu, or matrix, of its literary encyclopedia called Babae Jogbe. In one of its stories, it speaks to us about the occasion when one of the disciples of Orumila